maybe we can talk a little bit about that intersection of agility, security, and cost effectiveness in a cloud strategy. Matt, do you want to pick up on that?
Yeah, sure. So agility, security, and cost effectiveness. Now, look, it's a tough question, and I don't think there is the right answer, or perhaps I do. I think the right answer is you need to do both, to do all of those as well as you can. Unfortunately, organizations can't drop the ball on any of those core requirements, core business objectives at the moment. And I think, again, it kind of goes back to the particular application and what is the right way to deliver that. Going back to the example I mentioned previously, core banking, right? How important is agility on your core banking system? Probably not as important as being reliable and available. So you need to make the right decisions. It'll be a little bit off center in that mix that you just referred to. Other applications, again, sticking with the example I talked about previously, test and dev. Look, maybe cost is going to trump it on that one. It doesn't need to be on a fully featured cloud platform. You can use a cost-effective utility compute platform like Akamai's to sort of help you get some of those requirements. So it really depends on many of the, I guess, business objectives, which Abhishek mentioned previously. And
so, look, historically, organisations in the ancient days, the old world, the medieval times when I started in IT, people put in their capital budget. They planned out for the next 3 to 5 years. They set one strategy. They stayed on the same strategy for 3 to 5 years. They bought the hardware. They depreciated it, and they almost set and forgot the strategy for literally 3 years, 4 years. Is that how you do an effective cloud strategy nowadays? Maybe Abhishek, you can answer that. Clearly, that's a set-up question for you.
Well, I'll just take a moment to talk through what I see from, generally speaking, around with our customers and partners in the industry. But I think the broad strategy that any customer should be following today and taking a hard look at is you revisit your strategy every 3 months. You cannot just, keep your strategy on paper and then keep looking at it once a year or, maybe twice a year or maybe once every 3 to 4 years. You cannot do that. And the reason I say this is because it's not a moving goalpost, but it's a moving target. Your goal is still the same, to make sure you get the best and optimum value for your cloud investments. You get a fit for purpose, fit for mission, and fit for usage cloud scenario that you're looking at. And what that means is, if tomorrow you feel that your DevOps practices in the cloud need to be adapted, you need to have that adaptive engineering capability to go and adapt to that change while that change is happening, either from a market perspective or based on your customer feedback or how your users are reacting to certain change. So what you're seeing on the screen over here is what I typically call as how our customers should be looking at doing the right kind of investment, and what is the commodity line in this scenario. So the commodity line is when a technology reaches a particular inflection point where it's easier to partner than investing in that capacity. So if you look at stuff such as your infrastructure architecture, your ITSM administration, software patching, updating, your infra as a service, cloud engineering, backup. So availability and resiliency are two different concepts. A lot of people tend to construe them as mutually inclusive. They're not. They're mutually exclusive. Your data center management, right? Your email administration, basic service provisioning, compute administration, web application development. These are all now commoditized functions within information technology. So this is really where the true value for our customers can be realized by partnering with, say, either Akamai and Fujitsu or anyone of their choice. But then really where you're looking at investing and where you want more bang for your buck in the manner of speaking and achieve a very differentiated commercial value. Data science, financial optimization or FinOps, you have digital platforms to look at. You look at your broader software architecture, you look at generative AI engineering, look at large language models in that scenario, look at machine learning, enterprise security architecture, CI/CD pipelining, site reliability engineering. I see SRE becoming commoditized in the next 2 years. So think of having a set of patterns and practices in place as part of your broader cloud strategy, where tonight you might want to have it in-house, but tomorrow you may want to commoditize and take advantage of economies of scale, where partners bring that capability to you. And this is the way it's going to work forward. And I'll go back to the previous example that I said of a large customer that we are working with right now. From 2014 till 2020, after we had done the migration and they had gone back to their managed services provider, the customer did not look at the cloud strategy, right? They just said, well, our strategy was to go to the cloud and we achieved that. But then was that the end game for them? That was not supposed to be the end game. The end game in the original strategy that was provided was for them to innovate, right? Try and decompose applications, look at fit for purpose workloads, and then start resizing, refactoring, following the 8 Rs process that we follow. Somewhere along the line that was missed, and they ran the whole environment for a couple of years and they realized that they got sticker shock. So it was maybe a bad, a misjudgment on their part. Maybe it was a bad judgment call on part of the service provider. I don't know. I cannot speak to that. But the lesson and the learning that we should all take away from that particular scenario, and there's a lot of other customers in the industry who will attest to the same fact, is that if you don't revisit your target operating model once every few months, maybe once, I would recommend once every quarter, you are going to go down into that same path of, or maybe into that same trap, and you will end up losing sight of the bigger picture while you are focused on a smaller subset of it.